Hey Village, it's Whitney here. I'm really excited to bring you the very first foster parent diary entry. It's something that I talked about in a previous video. It's something I've been wanting to do because we get so many great questions from you guys, and there are so many things that we go through as foster parents that we really just want the opportunity to dig a little bit deeper, be a little bit more raw, and share as much as we can with you. Whether you are a foster parent and might have different experiences but looking to find some relatable content, you might be looking to become foster parents yourselves and want to get a feel for, what you're getting yourself into. Or I know there's a lot of you out there who came across our channel and really just are invested in the kids who are in foster care and want to get involved in some way, or at least be slightly more informed on what they might go through and find ways to support them. So this first diary entry is a long time coming. So this is a question that we have gotten for the past year and a half while our most recent foster daughter had been staying with us. And I do have to give a little bit of a history lesson, and I also have to specify something. As foster parents, confidentiality for the child and the family is absolutely key. We started this channel back in January of 2018, which is when we started our training to become foster parents. Through our journey, we were trying to kind of catalog and share just what those everyday experiences were. So leading up to it, it was just training and the home study and the paperwork, the communication with our agency, what placement calls really were like. And when we do get a child who is placed with us and is staying with us for an indefinite amount of time, we still want to do our best with having some discretion in sharing what we can. But obviously we can't share everything. And so if I ever don't answer a question, or if I'm vague in responding to something or talking about it in a video, it's for a specific reason, because honestly, we can't talk about everything. And I will say that for the first year and a half of having this channel, Be the Village, we were super, super small starting out. There were only a few thousand of you who have been with us from the beginning. But when our most recent foster daughter was placed with us, who we refer to as Miss A, to kind of maintain her identity, keep it confidential. And we also have never shown her in the videos. We make sure to blur out her face or cut the video frame so that it's not showing her face. Once she came to us and stayed with us, YouTube finally decided to start putting our video out there. And so many of you were able to find us, and we are so, so grateful that you joined us on this journey that we are on. But pretty much in a matter of weeks, our channel went from being just a little informational to really gaining some attention, and we went from 3,000 to 30,000 subscribers just in a matter of weeks. And to be honest, during that time, we knew that we were still following all the guidelines to maintain the confidentiality of our foster daughter. We made sure not to talk specifics about her case, but there's also that fine line and that gray area of how much can we share about our experience while still maintaining that confidentiality. So that's why we have never stated why her or her siblings were entering foster care. We didn't really talk about a timeline or what things might have, sped up the process, slowed down the process, or even just specifics about what actually is talked about at court. Those things are not something that we share on this channel. But our intention is to give that high level so that other people can understand what it's like to be a foster parent. Because at the heart of it, anyone can be a foster parent, but not everyone should be a foster parent. Anyone can be a foster parent, but not everyone should be a foster parent. So we're hoping that by sharing our experiences, it'll help families decide if this is really for them. And if not, that's totally okay. There are so many other ways to support families and kids. So with that little history lesson about our channel, we kind of were nothing, and then we became a little bit of something pretty much overnight. And so we didn't know how to handle things. So John and I continued to talk about how to handle each topic, each video, what to share, how to approach certain situations. And as our foster daughter learned about the channel and what we were sharing, we were really transparent with her so that she knew that we were never going to put her in front of the camera and have her speak or perform or anything that wouldn't make her feel comfortable. In early videos, we even had her watch them before we would even post them. If it had anything to do with a sensitive topic, still just from our side. But there were many situations that we did not bring up. Some of those were just like your typical kind of teen situations that would come up. Like, we didn't share those because it's so important to recognize and respect that those are her experiences. And we specifically didn't share much about her family, again, because that is their experience, their story. It is not our place to tell that story. But we did make the decision to really just not draw attention to the fact that we had a channel. Because this channel is something that we started to spread awareness, to inform people, we wanted to stay with that mission. And so we focused on what we could talk about and share that would maintain confidentiality, that would respect the child and the family, but still be as raw and open with all of you. And John and I specifically made the decision to not lie about the channel at all, but we weren't necessarily going to bring it up. And the reason we did that is because we didn't want anything to jeopardize our foster daughter possibly being displaced from our home. And if it came down to it, absolutely, we would have just shut down the channel. If somebody said you have to shut down the channel or she has to move, we would shut down the channel, absolutely. But we knew that there was so much good being created from this channel and from all of you and the village. We just really didn't want to address that until she returned home. So for all of you who had asked the question multiple times in the comments over the last year and a half, when you were asking if our agency knew or if our foster daughter's family knew, at the time, it was not something that we openly disclosed. And I'll address the agency first. For me personally, I really wanted to share it because it felt like something that wasn't a lie. Don't like to hold on to, secrets. And so I wanted to be forthcoming with the information, but it really just wasn't the right time. We did disclose in the fall when we were getting recertified, we do have to inform of all of our lines of income. And so we did disclose at that time that we did have income coming from YouTube. And so at that point, if they wanted to ask us, we could talk about it. But we were really just focused on making sure that our foster daughter was able to return home, and then we would have the conversation with our agency. So as you know, if you've been watching for a while, our foster daughter went home right before the holidays, and we took a little bit of time just to focus on family, our adjustment, and finally, I just decided that it was time to reach out to our agency and have a conversation to inform them about the channel, about the purpose, and just to clarify if there were going to be any issues with us maintaining our foster parent license while still maintaining the channel. And we did contemplate moving from our private agency that takes placement calls primarily from the Cincinnati area, and we're kind of in the suburbs. The need is much greater in the Cincinnati area, but it has posed a few, inconveniences being a foster parent and having much longer drives, especially when you have, multiple visitations, when you're nearing reunification and there's a lot of travel happening. And so we were contemplating, since we had our mileage reimbursement taken away from our agency, we wanted to see if there was a better option. So we talked and looked into moving to the county that we actually reside in. There are pros and cons to all of this, and I promise I will have a dedicated video about this, private agency versus county agency. But ultimately, after having a number of conversations with our private agency, there was a reason that we picked them in the first place. And they do so much for the community. They do so much for the families and the kids. Our caseworker with our agency is just absolutely incredible. They're so patient with me. I've had to have multiple conversations where foster parent, I feel like I'm losing my mind and I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or if I should be doing something else. And they're just so understanding and helpful. And so we didn't want to lose that. We had some conversations, and ultimately what it came down to was we were going to focus on our foster daughter returning home, and then John and I decided at that point we would have a conversation with them about the channel and see if it was something that they were still comfortable with us doing while being a family with them. So all I did was send a quick text to one of my main contacts at the agency. It's actually interesting because the director of the agency had put in her notice, and I guess they're getting a new director for the agency very soon. So I was originally going to have that conversation with her, but when she provided her notice, I knew I needed to talk to the person who I call the matchmaker. She's the one who calls for all of the placements, and I've had many conversations with her and truly respect her and her opinions. And I wanted to tell her about the channel, about the purpose, and I think for me, I was anticipating it going a much different direction. She really just kind of said, okay, so, you know, what's the big deal? And I was like, well, I guess I just wanted to make sure that it was okay. And so she gave some stipulations, and all of those we have already been following. And so John and I decided, you know, now that they know about the channel, we don't have to feel like we're hiding anything. We do still feel like we are incredibly supported by our agency and those who work there. And so we've decided to stay. And then there's the situation of our foster daughter's family and her parents. We've been asked, you know, do they know about the channel? So I can say now that they do know about the channel, but at the time it was not something that came up. And I'm sure there are going to be many opinions about this specifically, but really it's just a matter of knowing the situation, knowing the child, knowing the family, and really trusting in what we were doing. We knew that it wasn't something that we wanted to just openly have a conversation about. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right place. We were truly focused on supporting her family and really encouraging and supporting reunification. So just like our full-time jobs, you know, our YouTube channel is also a job for us. It's a lot of work. And so that really does not impact the way in which we're supporting her family, supporting reunification. And once Miss A, our foster daughter, returned home, you know, we told her this is something that we want to be able to bring up to your family. We didn't want her to carry any of the burden. We never told her to lie about it. It's just not something that really like came up. But it was something that we talked to her a lot about. Every video that she was in, we wanted to make sure that she was comfortable, that it was something that she wanted to do. There is a connotation sometimes with channels like ours, those who are fostering, those who are adopting, those who are sharing their lives on camera and on YouTube. And we know that that isn't our channel. We know what our purpose is, what our mission is. We make sure that even our children are not, you know, put in front of the camera to perform. That's not something that we are about. And if you've seen a lot of our videos, you've seen how much Darcy loves being in front of the camera. If that girl does not become some type of a performer, I am going to be shocked. But we did end up having the opportunity to bring it up with her parents, in part because we were showing up with a lot of items that you all had provided her as she was moving back home. And, you know, we don't take credit for that. We said that we have a channel, and there were, you know, supporters who really were excited about her going home and wanted to find a way to chip in. And now it's really funny because she sent me a photo showing her and her siblings watching one of our videos, which was really cool to see. Her parents have shared that, you know, they're very blessed that she has been so loved and accepted by all of you and supported by all of you. And I know that that goes for her family as well. So now that our agency knows and our foster daughter's family knows about our channel, we feel a big pressure kind of released from our shoulders. And moving forward, when we do start to get those placement calls and we have more kids coming into our home, just know that we are sharing with you what we can and what we're able to on the channel. There are some things that we are either not comfortable with sharing, we're not able to share, or maybe it's just not the right time. I know many of you have asked, you know, when we're going to be able to share Miss A, show her face, share her name, and honestly, she's still a child, and it's still her story, it's still her family's story, and it's not our place to share that. But it's not something that we are encouraging because she is still 15, she's a child. Really just protecting her and her family is our main objective. So we're excited for what is to come. Thank you for joining me for the very first Foster Parent Diary. Make sure you like and subscribe and have your notifications on because we still have so much coming up.